further ado, we have the person that has built a rather large company all around wellness, health, and beauty, and it is called the Drip Club. We have Kim on.
Thank you for having me, Hamish.
You're welcome. Thank you. And right now, we have me set up with a drip from the Drip Club, yeah?
Correct.
Can you explain to us what am I plugged into right now?
So to best describe it for people who are listening and not viewing, it's basically a hospital drip, so a bag of fluids that you'd normally get in a hospital, but instead of having medications flowing into your body, you have nutrients flowing into your body. So what I've prepared for you today under the doctor's supervision is vitamin C, vitamin Bs, so your multi-B, magnesium and zinc.
Oh, so I did get that magnesium, George.
Well, you only got a single dose, not a double dose, so you should still be quite capable of doing the podcast.
Asleep.
No,
yeah,
you shouldn't fall asleep.
He was like, Hamish, I've seen you fall asleep all around the world. If you have too much magnesium, you fall asleep here.
It feels beautiful.
That's good. I'm excited. And why do people do this usually?
A number of different reasons. The history of IV nutrition is firmly bedded into medicine. So for specific medical conditions, it's been used in medicine for over 60 years, pioneered by Linus Pauling and other doctors working in the area for things like vitamin C deficiency for various diseases. They were used in Aboriginal communities in Central Australia for vitamin C deficiency, fibromyalgia, things like that, just to help with symptom relief. But in recent years, it's come to the fore because it's been found to be quite useful for, I guess, lifestyle support, for want of a better word. So, you know, instead of trying to pep yourself up with copious amounts of caffeine and alcohol, as, some people do, maybe a drip to pep you up is a better option.
That's pretty cool. So in terms of this Linus person, what's their history of actually figuring out that this is a good idea?
Well, Linus Pauling is actually a dual Nobel Prize winner, so he's a very, very learned individual. Probably the best known cocktail was by Dr. Meyer, who helped a lot of his patients with just recovering from illness and general fatigue. Linus Pauling, he pioneered a lot of research in vitamin C therapy, and we're talking, I think, in the 50s when he did a lot of his research. But a lot of the original research was done many decades ago. We are seeing some new research come out, particularly for vitamin C therapy, but that's usually done in conjunction with other chemotherapy drugs or cancer research.
And so did this kind of hit the forefront now because of cancer research, or more to do with COVID, or
Well, the popularity of the treatment took off in North America, I would say about 6 years ago, and it was mostly to do with hangovers and things like that in America. Obviously, it's not part of our branding or part of our brand message.
But is that how you first got into it?
No, but I've triple tested it. But no, I've always been really mostly about, how can we help support people live better lives and get, not feel so fatigued, and give them something that's healthy rather than something that's just giving them false energies like caffeine and things like that. What else can we do to help support people's bodies?
Yeah, because I feel like, me included, just gets on 2-3 coffees a day to keep it running like clockwork.
You know what's funny is a lot of people don't realize how dependent they are on caffeine. It's like you try telling someone not to have a coffee a day and it's hard.
Yeah. Especially growing up, and my mum was like, I haven't had morning coffee, I'm going to have a headache. I feel like that's a lot of people. They get headaches if it's an addiction. We all just go nah, that's an alright addiction.
Yeah, that one will have.
Yeah.
Who doesn't like a latte in the morning? But, just things like that. Sugar's another one. It's, they actually give it to babies as pain relief. Sugar is a drug. So some people are addicted to that. Some, there's lots of things that while they might not be illegal, the body, it's a drug for the body, and we become dependent on it.
So how did you get interested in this line of work or this line of thinking?
Well, I started a laser clinic, an aesthetic clinic, and I was seeing a lot of people coming in with inflammatory skin conditions. And my background has always been in wellness and performance. I used to be a personal trainer and firefighter in a previous life. So I was always about how can we make people run faster? How can we make people better? How can we help the body heal itself? That's always been my bent. And so with this background, people would come to me with, acne and other skin conditions, and I'd just put them on a few internal supplements, tell them to avoid certain foods and give them some skincare, and they'd come back thinking I was a white witch because they've been everywhere, and all of a sudden their skin's better because we've removed the internal drivers of that inflammation. So that's how I started, but also I had some significant health problems as well, and I came across this treatment for myself, and
what was the treatment?
The intravenous nutrients.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and I was just so shocked about how unavailable it was and how hard it was to get and how long you had to wait to get in to see one of these integrative doctors that could do one of these infusions. Because done in an appropriate medically supervised way, they're very, very safe. But it was just unavailable. But yet we can get dermal fillers and anti-wrinkle injections on every street corner. So I thought, well, why can't we have this? So I said, well, I'm going to do it. So step by step, I, built the Drip Club system, built our training program, and years later, here we are training other nurses how to help other people that come to see them. So
yeah, cool. So you started Drip Club how many years ago?
I started my original business, Chic, about 12 years ago. The Drip Club, I guess, started mucking around with drips after my training course, and that was about 8 years ago. When I did my training course with the Australasian College of Medical Nutrition, and I've been going there every year since. And putting all of our protocols together, because even the Australasian College of Medical Nutrition, they teach you a few things, but they don't really teach you the length and breadth of how to mix different nutrients together. They just present the research. They don't actually show you a lot of the how-to, but they show you a lot of the research.
Okay, so what kind of research did you deep dive into about the different vitamins? Like, what do I have that, and what does it do?
Well, it's a lot of the research exists in medical journals. So you have to basically search on, a medical journal's search engine, so like Google Scholar or PubMed or something like that, type in intravenous vitamin C and just start reading.
Yeah, okay, fair. All right, and then in terms of like how you've grown your business, like what was that journey been like? Like the first one and then now this one?
Look, I think it's a steep learning curve. I think that if I was to do it again, it would be much, much faster, because you just learn so much, not only about running a business, but about yourself and where your own blind spots are, and where the opportunities for growth lie, because a lot of the things that stand in your way in life, and definitely in business, is your own biases and your own fears and your own stuff.
So what kind of things have you learnt that you could, I guess, give on to whoever's listening?
That people can't read your mind, and that you actually have to say it out loud, and you actually have to tell people, because why I might have a certain standard, if I don't communicate that and then hold people to account. I know it sounds so simple, but sometimes when you're running a business, and I don't know whether that's me as an individual, but I'm not someone that likes confrontation. I dislike confrontation a lot, so I've actually had to train myself to be confrontational, and it doesn't mean, angry confrontational, but to actually, when I see there's a problem, to stop
Let it be known
and say, look, there's a problem here that we need to solve. So, but in my, I guess, natural state, I'm not really like that.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I can see how that's a very effective thing
Yeah.
to be able to learn. Like
yeah.
a lot of things get swept under the rug if you don't do it right.
No, because
You're
when
like, oh, then just this business is not running how I want it to run.
no, and you know it, and it's like, yeah. And obviously, if someone's not a good fit for your business, hire and fire quickly.
Yep.
Yeah, you just they either fit in or they don't, and if they're not a good fit, they'll poison the whole barrel, and that's happened to me a couple of times, and I should have trusted my gut at the beginning, but I didn't. But now I'm just like, something's not right, not go. And
Is it pretty easy to do that in Australia?
Well, it is if you do it in the first 6 months, because everybody's on a trial, and when you hire someone, what's on their resume says one thing, but the proof is in the pudding, and you need to be able to do that initially in the early stages of someone's employment. Otherwise, you don't know how they're going to perform until they do.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's cool. And do you have like partners in these businesses, or you?
No, I'm the sole owner.
Yeah, cool. So how have you gone about growing? Because I know you have multiple locations now, yeah?
Yes, we have locations in Queensland, South Australia, Victoria and New South Wales.
Wow, where'd you start?
Yeah. We started in little old Unley.
Yeah.
And we've now got 4 locations in South Australia. So I guess, you just got to make the right partnerships. And in the beginning, sometimes you're not very fussy. And what I mean by that is you will take on board a partner because they want you, not necessarily because you want them, and you work with them because you need to get a foot in the door in a multiple location business, not only because for growth, but you need to be able to test your own logistics, because we also have vertically integrated our supply chain. So we needed to test, okay, are we able to deliver to a clinic interstate? And so our first partner came on board quite early, and that was great because it allowed us to really hone and refine all of our business systems. So now when we're getting multiple people inquiring about working with us, it's just easy to duplicate because we've already done that work.
Yeah, you figured out. I feel like shipping's a big part.
It is. Shipping and logistics, because like with most businesses, to produce this widget, usually there is input from multiple suppliers. So to be able to coordinate that and just give our businesses a single way to order for a new business, it is so great, because when I started, I had like invoices from everywhere. Our clinics get one invoice and it all comes through us. We handle the logistics and it goes out.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
That's good. And did you have to have a purpose-built software to do that, or
no,
was
we
something off the shelf?
Something off the shelf. We build a shop, and then our clinics order, and then we just organise with the different suppliers on their behalf, and that really takes the load off our business partners, so they can focus on their guests and patients, and they don't have to worry about the stuff that doesn't help with that guest or patient's experience.
Yeah, okay. So then each partner, or like, is it a franchise? Is that how you set it up?
It is a franchise, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So each franchise gets to really focus on their customer service and delivering the product, and not really have to worry about like, oh, how do we get enough of X, Y, and Z? It's kind of like you just know how many customers they have on a regular basis, and you send out everything they need as they need it.
Yep.
Do you like then premeditate after a year or something, say, oh, in these months they usually have this many, so we just send them?
Yeah, we've worked all of that out. We can see usage, so we can actually now, we've got to a point where we can predict usage of new clinics as well.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And does that differentiate between like the area a new clinic will set up, or it's usually just like that's a new store, a new market, it's probably going to be this?
It does vary depending on the business model, because we have 2 different business models. One's a licensing model and one is a franchising model. But generally when we look for a new franchise, there are key criteria. So most of the time the numbers are bang on. So, we look at population, traffic flow, all of that, like McDonald's, exactly what McDonald's looks at when they're looking for a new location. So when we set them up, we're pretty sure about, month 1, month 2, month 3.
And are you doing it in the McDonald's method and buying the land underneath?
Oh, if only I had that much money. No, no,
You'll get
that would
there.
be so good, but no,
Right.
no.
Those are the days.
Those are the days. Yeah.
I mean, isn't it like McDonald's like the largest landowner in the world?
Oh,
Like
I think that
major
might be the
areas?
Roman Catholic Church.
Oh, well. Yeah, they own a lot. They do.
Yeah.
Churches and schools. I've been looking, like, schools have so much cool land.
Yeah,
Like-
they do. But kids need somewhere to run around. The
Oh,
thing,
yeah, it's
have you-
not anything wrong with it, obviously.
Have you been to Rome?
I
have you
know,
been to
that's the
Rome?
one city that George and we didn't go to Italy, Spain or Portugal, the three
Yeah.
we like should have started off with.
You go to Rome and you look at the ceiling, and they've got like, I think it was 600 kilos of gold painted on the ceiling, and you're like, that is next level. Like the amount, yeah.
That's
It
some
makes
child
you,
money there.
yeah, you go, wow, like this is next level.
That is next level.
Yeah.
I love that level of opulence though.
Oh, it was full on. And, they only show us a small selection of the artworks and things that they have. But, you just wonder.
You're just dying to go into the
yeah,
vault, aren't you?
Yeah, you're going, what have you got down there?
Yeah. I mean, it's quite interesting around wartime.
I was going to say the spoils of war.
Yeah.
They've probably lots of stuff that they don't want
so
people to
much
see.
stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, you even look at all the contention with like the archaeological facts of like the Parthenon and stuff like that, and how like countries like, hey, give us back our stuff you stole it. Like, we've had this for 400 years. Please
Us
go
now.
away. Like- yeah, it's funny how that happens, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. All right, so back to you doing cool stuff and being a bit of a mogul in Australia, which I think.
Not yet. I'm not at
you know,
mogul status yet.
but
I'm
you're on
still
your way.
I'm on my way. I'd like to think.
How
yeah.
do you stay disciplined to like day in, day out, like keep it up? Like, surely that's pretty difficult to have that level of consistency. Like, how did you train yourself in being a consistent individual?
I don't know. I guess from a young age, I come from a migrant family and a refugee. Like, my dad was a Hungarian refugee out of Hungary during the revolution. And I grew up watching him work 3 jobs so he could pay the house off and so my mum could stay at home. So, that level of commitment, it was, that was life.
That was like
it's-
normal to you.
Yeah, it's normal. Like, that's what you do to support your family, and that's how you work. And that's what my dad drilled into me when I was little. I think I would have been 6 years old, and he sat me down and he said, just remember, you got to work harder than everybody else because there's somebody else that will take your job. So you got to be the best. And I'm like, okay, Dad.
Yeah,
So
that really landed with you.
yeah, I still remember it. Yeah.
And were you pretty big at like sport and all that at school? And you're
Yeah, I
like,
was the school sports captain.
well, there you go.
Yeah, so I was a sports captain at school, and I competed in dragon boat racing internationally. If you've ever heard of
I
dragon
have
boat
seen
racing.
dragon boat racing.
Yeah,
That's
it was
such a
good.
wild sport to do.
It's cool. It was because in Asian countries it's huge, and
And
it's like a massive festival.
did you like learn it in Asian countries?
No,
or-
I learnt it here, just down here, just at Bower Road by the rowing club
Okay.
in West Lakes, and
I've seen a few of them because I did rowing when I was at high school.
Yeah, so I did that. And yeah, I've just always been into my sport. Played basketball growing up, and
Yeah, cool. And then how did that actualize in terms of that ability to just like kind of grind? Like, how did you start off? Was that PT and then you grinded having heaps of clients? Is that what the first kind of
no,
business version of it is for you?
I think, like I said, I'm just the personality type. I'm like a shark. If I'm not moving, I'm going to die. Like, I need to be doing something. Like, if I had nothing to do, I would create something. That's just in me. I can't just sit.
So you're not a movie person?
No. I'll watch a good film, no problem. But, if
once a month.
yeah. But that's leisure. That's my enjoyment.
Yeah.
But I'm not the sort of person that I would I need purpose. I need things to do.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, but that's just me. But I guess in relation to business, at a point, I've always been someone that if I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it to the best of my abilities. And so when I started my business, I was always looking for ways of taking the business to the next level. And, in the early days in a micro business, when it's just yourself, those improvements are incremental, but that's the value, is when you come into a business and you buy a franchise or you buy somebody else's business. That's what you're buying. It's the years of incremental improvement that has taken someone that length of time to hone and get right and retain clients and attract clients and everything that's added to what has made that business special.
Yeah.
So
strong foundation.
The strong foundation, and I mean, I'm sure in your podcasting, where you started is not where you are now. Incrementally you get better, and that happens over time with experience and practice. And you do your 10,000 hours, and then all of a sudden it's like, I can do this with my eyes shut, and it's just like everything else.
Well, it's definitely been growing here because we started at on Greek radio.
Oh yes,
and that was phenomenal. It was a good time. It was like an hour format, 2 ad breaks, and it was fun. But then after moving from there, we built this studio, and now we can have these kind of uninterrupted conversations and really go into a lot more depth and have nothing off limit. If you want to swear, you can swear. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Because this is our station. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then just getting on the social medias and really having the video format dialed, that's been a big thing for us. And then figuring out how to edit that effectively, and then, using someone overseas, how do you even make the files so you can send these huge 100 gigabyte files
and
overseas?
All of a sudden you're going bang, 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 because you got it all sorted out.
That's it. We're definitely getting there. We're a lot closer than we were before.
That's right. And you know what? Every day you're getting closer to better.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But now with my business, I really do feel like I'm grinding it out for the people that work for me and the people that believe in me, because I might be the head of the ship, but I'm not the only one with a bucket and a paddle. So I've got quite a few people working for me. I think at last count I've got over 50 people employed directly and indirectly through the Drip Club. And if I collapse, that's not good enough for my people. So I need to keep going.
Yeah. That's wild. 50 people. You got 50 whole families.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Yeah. And
what does that feel like?
It feels, I just can't, I think if I go, wow, can't believe I got here. That's, just thinking about it, you just don't realize along the way that you add another person and you add another person, you go, wow, I've got all these people working for me. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, that is cool.
It's like you created that. It's like a love of a creation, from nothing to something.
Yeah, definitely.
That's how I see it.
That's very cool. And in terms of so obviously drips aren't the only thing you do.
No.
But just to kind of go over the drip a little bit more.
Yeah.
What kind of drips do you have other than this?
So the thing that sets our business apart from other clinics that offer infusions is that we custom make each drip for the person. So all of our nurses have gone through a complete training program to teach them which nutrients are beneficial for different things. So when someone comes to see us, the first question that we ask is, what brings you in? Why are you here, essentially? And from the information from the medical consent that we did earlier and from the discussions that I had, we will create a drip that the nurse and the doctor best thinks is going to suit that person on that day.
And is there a limitation to what you can provide in terms of vitamins, or is it you can kind of get any single vitamin there is to get?
Oh, look, we can get most vitamins, but some we don't have. Like,
What are some ones that you were like working at for a while and you're like, we've got it, we've got this one?
Selenium is one that we've finally got our hands on.
What's selenium?
Selenium is a mineral that is largely depleted from our farmlands because it's a mineral that doesn't help the physical appearance or growth of the plant. So it's a mineral that helps the plant in other ways and it's uptaken through the soil, but it doesn't make the plants any bigger, so they don't replenish that in a lot of soils.
And what is it supposed to provide for like health?
Well, it helps with your sex hormones. It helps with your thyroid. It's an antioxidant. Lots of integrative doctors recommend selenium with people that have cancer for support. But yeah, there's lots of good things that selenium does.
Yeah, cool. These things are cool.
They are, and
I'm blown away. I can't believe I've got a needle in me right now.
Yeah.
Like what?
Well, just wait until tomorrow morning. So the drips, they do make you feel a little bit better, specifically because of the magnesium while you're having them done. It gives you a feeling of calmness. But it's usually 5 or 6 hours later overnight because the nutrients themselves don't do anything. What the nutrients do is they aid in all of the chemical reactions in your body. So it allows your body to do other things, like the vitamin C will allow you to repair better. That's how the nutrients work. It's your body healing itself. It's like you're building a house and, the vitamins are the mortar.
Okay. You're building a house and the vitamins are the mortar.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Okay. I think I understand that analogy. All right. So in terms of scaling your business, what was that like? Like, how'd you actually go about scaling? Because you had your micro business, you had your one kind of location. What kind of doctrination did you need? Or like, did you have like policies and procedures that you had to have like fully written down to like then start your next location?
Yes, that all had to be done. I guess, again, what I was saying before about the incremental improvements, Rome wasn't built in a day. So you have one issue within the business, so you write a policy. You hire someone, so you need to write a whole host of policies. So as you grow, as the next level of growth, you write more policies and you introduce more controls into your business step by step. And then all of a sudden you've got a integrated system that talks to each other. I still look at my business. I look at my business daily, and there's so much that we need to do. There's I know where we're going to go the next level, and I know the gaps that exists. So where we are at now is fine, but for us to elevate, we need to take that next step, and that's been the journey right from when I was on my own. It's that incremental change, that incremental improvement. It's not overnight, it's the sustained incremental improvement over time.
Yeah, bet. That's cool. What other products do you have?
Products, we have
services as well.
Products and services. So I'll talk about our Norwood franchise. So they have cosmetic injectables. They have laser treatments for skin and hair. They have fat freezing. So if you got, love handles or whatever, you can freeze them off.
Like dry ice them?
No.
You just knock them off?
No. Well, funnily enough, fat cells are more sensitive to cold than skin, muscle or nerve cells. So when you chill your fat cells over a period of time, they will undergo what's called apoptosis or cell death, while the other tissue, your skin, your muscle and your nerve cells, remain unharmed. So we basically freeze the cells, they explode, the body absorbs the fat and you're permanently contoured.
And you're like doing that by injections, or you're just throwing like fat people into ice baths?
No, but we have that service too. No, it's like a machine that's...
George, get the ice bath.
No. Oh, yeah, so much fun. No, it's like a machine that has a suction cup and there's chilling plates top and below, and the fat that's sucked into the suction cup gets chilled to like 1 degree.
So is it kind of like those suction cups that people put on and then the blood comes out?
Like cupping.
Yeah.
Oh,
or
kind of similar, but
different?
looks completely different. But it's basically the principle of sucking the tissue into a suction cup.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So it's done under pressure.
That's wild. I wonder if my dad's done that because he's like all about this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm going to get him to watch this podcast.
Cool.
He needs to know. He loves this stuff. But
yeah, we also have colonic irrigation or colon hydrotherapy, which is where we irrigate the large bowel with purified water, and it helps with detoxification. We have an infrared sauna.
So what is detoxification and why do people need to care about it?
Well, elimination is important, especially how we're living at the moment. Human beings are ancient beings, and it's only really been in the last 100 years where the environment in which we live has changed dramatically. So we're not just talking about, we're talking about a whole host of things. So lifestyle, like artificial light and the hours of work, people working night shifts, processed foods, industrial farming, the levels of stress that we experience, tech or always being plugged in, and the effects that has on the cortisol in the brain. So, because our bodies have not can't evolve that fast, our bodies are basically taking on the stress of all of this chemical and physical pollution. So detoxification is important because we now actually, people aren't effectively detoxifying anymore because they can't rid themselves of all of these chemicals as fast as they're taking them in.
And back in the day, like, it's thought that we just did?
Well, no, it's just we've got a lot more now. So let's take the morning routine, for example. You brush your teeth, you might put some hair gel in your hair, moisturizer on your face, you might wash your face. Every single one of those products is, unless you're having very pure products on your skin, has a chemical in it that your body has to detoxify because your skin is like a sponge. So in the past, last 100 years, we didn't have that. Then you go downstairs and you have, pasteurized milk without any enzymatic action in it. You have Special K or whatever.
Wait, hold up, pause there. What's pasteurized milk with no enzymatic? What is that?
Well, we all talk about gut health, right? Gut health has been the real big thing the last 5 to 10 years. Prior to that, anybody that talked about gut health was called a hippie woo-woo person, and now they're giving fecal transplants in major hospitals. So now I know, off on a beaten track, but talking about transplant? so basically, raw milk has its own culture and its own enzymes, so the human body can break it down better. I mean, there's also a school of thought that we shouldn't be having dairy at all after childhood because we don't produce the enzymes in our gut to break them down. But pasteurized milk is a processed food, or it's all of the enzymes in the raw milk has been killed, so it's harder for us to digest. So those little changes that we've had to our diets, we've just accepted. But like I said, this is only the advent of the last 100 years, and now we're seeing so many more lifestyle diseases. I'm not saying that pasteurized milk is, the cause of all of the illness in the world, but that's just one example of subtle changes that have been made to how humans live, that independently it's not enough and not much, but if you add it all up, the extra stress and the extra stuff that our bodies have to deal with today than they did 100 years ago, it is a lot.
Yeah. Did you hear about the one with soft plastics?
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah.
So for those that are listening that haven't heard of it, essentially there's phthalimite, is that what the chemical is?
I think I'll let you. I just
Something
want
like
to
that.
make sure that we're talking about the
It's
same
like
thing.
thalamite or thalasemide or something like that is released from soft plastics, and what it has done from the study over like 40 years is it's halved male fertility. So then guys, and it's having an effect on girls as well, are like half as fertile, and there's something to do with like, I don't know, the what's that area between your bum hole and your nuts, the gooch or something.
Perineum.
The perineum. Yes. Medical terms. We love them. So that area, that being smaller, is actually a sign of your fertility. So if it's smaller, you're less fertile.
There you
and
go.
if it's bigger, you're more fertile.
There you go. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm not going to ask you if you're fertile or not, Hamish.
I don't know. I need to measure it. I need to measure it.
Yeah.
I don't think we'll be doing that here.
Well, it's not just that, and we were just talking about selenium earlier too. That's a huge cause for concern in male sperm production too. And again, that's not being replaced in industrial farming in our farmland. So they use a product called NPK, which just makes the plants bigger, but it doesn't actually replace the trace nutrients that have been taken out of the soil. So, people ask, well, why do we have to do this? An orange today has, I can't even remember this, but something like 20 times less nutrition than an orange the turn of the century.
Yeah, I heard that. George told me that. That was wild. He told me that a while back. How wild is that?
Yeah, and so,
you have 20 oranges to one back in the day.
Yeah, so you wonder why we've got people like obesity epidemic. It's because people's bodies are crying out for nutrition, and it's being interpreted as hunger.
I noticed that. Yeah, well, that's probably me because I eat heaps, but I'm always hungry. In America,
you're in the age band that you can be. You are supposed to be hungry.
I'm 26.
Well,
so I don't know. I might be on the back of it.
Yeah, you might be just coming off the edge of it now.
No, I'm getting old. But when I was in America, I actually noticed the food difference in terms of just the actual, like the quality of the produce.
Revolting.
It is so much worse. Just on your general, like going out anywhere.
Did you try that stuff masquerading as bacon over there?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
It's not as good. And I even went to
gross.
the south where I had like waffles with
bacon and maple syrup.
Oh, it's a good meal. I like that meal. But
ribs. I think I lived off ribs when I went to the US.
I didn't have heaps of the southern ribs, actually. Although I went to this really nice pasta place. George and I went, actually. It was like, where was it? In Soho.
Mm-hmm.
And it was past the Ralph Lauren store, about 3 blocks. 'Cause that's how we measured it. And we went there like 5 times because it had like 12 pages on the menu and it was small font. So there was just like so many pastas to get.
But yeah, like it was amazing
good.
going to the US. Is those self-service soft drink counters in so you bought your meal and you got a cup and you could go back and get as much Coke or Fanta as you wanted.
I am a fan of that though.
No, I'm not.
They had that at the Mitcham Hungry Jacks when I used to be a downhill bike rider.
Right.
And we used to refill that
But, this is the whole thing, when you talk about what's good for industry versus what's good for our bodies, a lot of the time it's completely different. So let's talk about this soft drink saga, right? The perceived value. So they'll upsell you to a massive bucket of Coke for 50 cents. It might cost them 1 cent, so it's better for them. But what are you going to do with a whole bucket of Coke? You're going to drink it, right? How many teaspoons of sugar?
Oh, too much.
What for? Because now you've thought that you've got more value when the value would have been just not to buy it at all.
Yeah. And doesn't it have like this huge effect on the alkalinity or the pH levels of your actual gut?
Well, of your whole body. Your whole body. People with cancer are consistently shown to be more acidic. So it's not saying acidity causes cancer, it's just a correlation.
Yeah, well, isn't there like a like a Nobel Prize winner guy from like the 20s or something that said cancer can't exist in an alkaline environment? I read that.
Might have been, well...
Could have been a Facebook quote that wasn't real though.
I do not know, but it sounds like a very smart person said that.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense, right? Because But I feel like maybe in a highly acidic environment as well, that wouldn't exist either.
What's sorry?
Cancer.
Cancer in a highly acidic
Yeah, would it?
environment.
Like if it was
I
like
don't
super
know.
acidic, like surely it would just melt down. But our bodies aren't that acidic, I guess.
No,
Anyway,
they're not.
I don't know. But what are the other things? Actually, no, here's my question. Do you think that it's because we are monopolizing our systems of organization, such as our food industries, and then we're creating more like huge companies as opposed to a variety of smaller companies, that these kind of efficiencies and stuff are like ruining our high quality produce?
Well, I think we're moving more to a system where only the people that can afford good health will get it. And what I mean by that is either you've got to grow your own stuff at home or you need to buy organic. You need to buy something that's grown in somebody else's backyard, not necessarily organically certified, but organically grown, like with animal poo and, you know, with sunlight and all of like how plants should be grown.
Yeah. And why do you think that is, that trend is moving in that trajectory?
Well, we've just seen, like in the news about, beware of food shortages, this, that and the other. And, these are for people where the cost of living is going up, interest rates are going up. Food's going to get tight from if what we're seeing on TV is to be believed, that those are the people that won't be able to afford fruit and veg. And the fruit and veg that they buy anyway is 20 times less nutritious than it was 100 years ago. So, that's a perfect storm. So it's been shown time after time that the biggest indicator of health is your socioeconomic status.
Where did you see that? Or it's just common knowledge?
It's common knowledge.
Yeah, okay. That's epic. What do you think about liver? Is liver as highly rated as it seems to be on the internet right now?
Like to eat liver?
Yeah, because I've been seeing this guy called Liver King.
I think if you're going to eat liver, it needs to be from an organic animal.
Okay.
Simply because the liver is your first filter. So if you're going to, liver's magnificent, but you need to have it from an organic animal.
So you need to be very picky about where you get it.
Yeah, you
it might
do.
Like actually be toxic.
Well, yes. I mean, and you see that, just in mercury, for example, in fish, and they encourage pregnant mothers, if you're going to eat fish, eat the smaller fish because you don't get a bioaccumulation of mercury. The same can be said for animals. So whatever toxins, the higher up on the food chain that animal is, the more toxins that animal is going to pass on if you eat it.
So if you eat like bears, that's going to be high in toxins?
Do you eat bears?
I don't know, but there's bears.
Bears eat fish. And then they eat salmon, which is a big... I don't know. I don't know much about the toxicity of bears, Hamish, to be honest.
Fair enough. I don't know why bears came into my mind first. Then we watching some podcast about bears. Okay, that's wild though. So we're pretty toxic because we're at the top of the food chain then. Yeah. So then we need to detoxify. And so eating good food, doing these drips, having like your colon flush. What are some other things you could do? Like, is meditation a detoxifier? Is that just like a more... mind.
I really prescribe to a health and wellness guru, for want of a better term, called Paul Chek, and he believes in the 4 pillars of health, which is Dr. Diet, Dr. Quiet, Dr. Movement, and there's one more doctor which I've forgotten. Put me on the spot. Anyway. It is really about having a balance. Dr. Spirit.
Okay, yeah.
So, I'm sure you've met people that are all about their diet. They eat everything right and they go to the gym all the time. But are they happy? And I'm not saying people that do that are unhappy, but there's more to health than just input and output. We're not machines. We are spiritual beings. Happiness, relationships, sunlight, good water, sleep, all of that plays into overall health. So you can't there is no silver bullet. And that's what I say to people that come in for the drips is there is no silver bullet. The the drips that we give really are a rescue remedy for the modern lifestyle, but you need to work on those other things if you really want to have a happy, full and healthy life.
That's wild. I like that. I feel like it's harder to attain though, because we're all pretty busy these days.
Yeah.
Whereas back in the day, like, we would have been more like your dog at home, chilling out for half the day,
And
unless you go out for a hunt.
And so what happens when you're busy? You don't feed yourself properly. You take something that's quick because you're tired. So all of these...
Coffee.
Yeah, you have... and all of these things are stresses on the body. So, yeah, sometimes you need to go back to the future. And I don't claim to have the solution, but I know that what I've said, that is true.
Yeah. So what kind of diet do you prescribe to?
I try and eat anything that my great-grandmother wouldn't recognise, I don't eat.
Okay, but that's a lot of foods that you find in the supermarket these days.
Yep.
So like all the cereals and stuff, not a fan?
No, won't touch them.
So just meat, veg. Wait, what about vegetables? I've been seeing that like people are like, oh, broccoli is a man-made thing because it was made from this one like natural weed that grew, and they keep pointing that out, that like broccoli, Brussels sprouts, kale and a few others were like all created from this one thing by man. And I'm like, they make it sound like a bad thing, but they're never actually saying why it's a bad thing. Like, surely that's not a bad thing that we just naturally selected some plants.
I think humans are creatures of habit, and we do tend to eat the same thing every day, every week, because it's easy and it's habit. I think trying to eat a variety of things is, I mean, like I said, I'm not perfect. No way am I perfect, but you know, if I try and like just prescribe to it, if my great grandmother wouldn't recognize it, I don't eat it. I think a lot of time everyone gets hung up on those kind of details. And really, we got to not let the perfect get in the way of the good. Yeah. I mean, because sometimes it's like all too hard. I'll just order Uber Eats.
Yeah.
You know?
Because if it's not perfect, then you just like
then you question everything. It's no point anymore. I don't know. Yeah.
It gets existential real quick.
Honestly, it's like, you know, just eat stuff your great grandmother would recognize. If it's bright blue, it's probably not good for you. Don't have it. Like
fair.
Yeah.
What about pizza?
Tastes good.
It does. I love pizza and pasta.
Get a homemade one. Like just don't buy that like highly processed stuff. And you know, and again, what I was saying about Dr. Spirit. You can't, you know, we have traditional foods, and foods is not just about what we put in our mouth. It's about sharing. It's about family. It's about love. And, you know, you can't also put that to one side, if that makes sense. So, yes, you try and eat to your own plan most of the time, but you know what? If it makes you happy, have a little bit. Just don't have it every day.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I feel like that's like a very reasonable approach to it.
Yeah.
Do as good as you can.
Yeah, but don't lie to yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, like always seek improvement.
Yeah, always seek improvement. And you know, we get lots of people come in and, you know, various aspects in their health journey. And what I tell them is it's not about changing everything. It's about changing one little thing, but sticking to it. And then once you've mastered that, then choose something else that's easy. Then choose something else that's easy. Because it's funny how habit change snowballs. So you might come in and all of a sudden by doing a few different changes in your routine or lifestyle, it will lead to others, because all of a sudden you start feeling better and you get excited by it, and then it just rolls on.
Yeah. And in terms of what's next for you in the Drip Club and the world of taking over the health industry, what's the game plan?
Oh, look, I don't know if I'll take it over. I just want to be a functional part of it. I want to bring. I'd love to be able to put a Drip Club on every street corner. I think the world needs us right now. I think people are tired, wired, and looking for a solution. And if we can, like I said, not only give them a drip, but ask them the value of someone sitting down with you for 45 minutes and saying, hey, how are you doing? You know, are you okay? You know, tell me about your lifestyle. You know, how's your stress? Not very often do people even ask, or you even get that time from someone. So that's kind of like the unseen value add that our nurses have with people one-on-one. Is it's not just about the drip, it's also about that support.
Yeah, just being caring.
You're just being caring, yeah. Because
Yeah.
everybody's busy. Everybody's so busy, like you said. And sometimes we need to stop and just reflect and just ask, well, how did I get to where I'm feeling or where I'm at right now? And what are the simple things I can do to change that? They don't have to be big.
Yeah. And do you have like a particular like layout for stores?
Yep. Yeah, we
that
do.
you're like, yeah?
Yeah,
What's
we
that
do.
like?
I mean, obviously, it's going to vary depending on the tenancy that we lease. But generally, we try and keep all the spa treatments together, the cosmetic treatments together, and a large drip room. I think we've underestimated the popularity of the drips. Then in future stores, we're going to make the drip room a lot bigger.
So you can have like 10 drippers at once?
You know, I wouldn't be surprised. I was thinking 6, but I think with time, you might be right. I think it might get there.
That's wild.
It's huge.
10 people just plugged up, like, hey, how you doing? Do
Oh,
people fall asleep while they have these
Yep,
drips?
yep.
Is that a regular thing?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, Bior, go forth.
Yep. So I'm on. So like what you put in your body has always been important as a temple, right? So why is it so paramount now in this time, right after COVID, or like just in general? There's a feel and a need more than ever that is important to have the right nutrients, the right balance, health, and everything.
I don't think there's any greater need now. I guess people are more aware of it now, how the fragility of their lives. And I don't mean life and death. I mean, if you can't work, if you're sick, if you're disabled because of your health prevents you from doing what you do day to day, it brings your life to a stop. You can't pay your mortgage, you can't support your family. So, you know, it's more than just your own health. It's you know, being able to do what you do daily and keep doing it for the good of your family. So that's what health is, and you don't miss it until it's gone.
Yeah, that's true. And especially if there's ways that people are now aware of, they should jump on it. But then again, like if prices are going up, and how would that deprive? Would there be other avenues? I guess maybe eating naturally, or
well, like I said, if you're of limited means, you do have to try harder, and it's like you have to go to the markets every Sunday because, like I said, if you go to the supermarkets, it's more expensive and the food quality isn't as good. Yeah. But also, if you're of limited means, you're not going to go down to the pharmacy and buy capsules of vitamin D for $70. You can't afford it. So, you know, unfortunately, medications are covered by the PBS, and nutrients aren't.
That's right. Yeah, because I have a friend that's now has a full garden, full backyard, everything, chickens, gone naturally, and it's working really well.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. It's kind of unless you're of the means, you got to choose. You either step back and spend more time in your garden and growing food and, you know, living a simpler life, or you need to work really, really hard to be able to buy it.
That's right, yeah.
I mean, like I said, I don't pretend to be an expert in economics, but it's always a battle for time and money. And a lot of people, the mouse wheel that they're on will not allow them to have chickens, will not allow them to have a garden because you have to be there.
Right. So you got to get your spiritual sense intact as well, and mind.
Yeah.
To follow that path as well.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, in a way, yeah.
In a way.
Nice, thanks.
So I've got this is just to completely switch it up. I've got a friend and he likes butthole sunning. Yeah, it's weird. It's very weird. But have you heard about people and being like, hey, you need to get sun on your genitals because they used to see the sun all the time and now they don't, and supposedly it makes a real big difference on your health. Have you heard of that?
I haven't, Hamish, but I'm a big believer in whatever makes you happy.
All right. You heard that. You know, not you, but behind the camera, you know who you are that I'm talking about.
Going into
Yeah.
into sexual wellness is a big part of the Drip Club as well, and what we have to offer at some clinics. I would love to hear more about the PPR especially and how it works, and maybe even just go through it. Like,
What's
I feel there's a lot
PPR?
It's called the P shot and the O shot. So it was developed by Charles Rennell. And basically what it is we take your blood plasma. So we'll draw blood, we'll spin it in a centrifuge and take off the plasma portion of the blood, and then we'll re-inject it into the genitalia.
Wow. And what's that supposed to do?
So PRP has been used widely in all aspects of medicine, from orthopedics, ophthalmology, wound healing. It rejuvenates tissue. So when you inject it into the penis or the vagina and the clitoris, it rejuvenates the tissue. So for guys, it helps repair if you're injured. It can help with firmer erections. It can help with length as well. Sustaining erections. With women, it helps with sensitivity, orgasm, lubrication, and urinary incontinence.
And for the viewers out there, just like, I'm sure there'd be a lot of people interested in this, but they're probably uncomfortable with just the thought of it. Could you kind of like describe how the procedure goes to those out there who may be interested, but what's holding them back is this fear of what it might look like?
Okay. Well, first thing, it is a medical procedure, and you will be seen by a nurse. Like, we're all very professional. We're all nurses, and so that's one thing to consider first. You don't need to feel weird about it. Everything is, we use a topical anaesthetic, so there's very little discomfort. You don't really feel very much because everything is numb, and it's your own blood. So the risk of having a reaction to the treatment is very, very small because you're putting self back into self.
Yeah, what's it supposed to do in terms of, is same premise?
Same deal. It doesn't matter whether you inject it into a joint, into your face, into an eye, into a wound. What PRP does is it releases growth factors into the area and promotes tissue proliferation, angiogenesis, which is the building of new blood vessels, and tissue healing.
That's cool. So how is that different to something like stem cells?
Same. Well, it's not the same, but it uses a similar principle. So stem cells, basically, what stem cells do is an undifferentiated cell, and what stem cells are trying to achieve is new cells of the same type in the area. So what PRP does is it influences growth factors for healing, where stem cells is we're actually trying to introduce new cells of that type into the area.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Yeah, so it's like if you had a bad knee, so you had a bunch of bad knee
So
cells.
a stem
it's like,
cell
here's
is
some
trying to
good
create a
cells.
new knee with new cells, whereas PRP is trying to repair the old cells.
Okay.
They are different technologies, but they're trying to both promote tissue healing by using your body's own tissue.
Yeah.
How long has that method been around?
Stem cell technology or PRP or both?
PRP.
PRP, I think they started mucking around with it about 15, 20 years ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I heard about it, but I'm now hearing that, this is what you guys were doing. It's not the other way of just repairing, but it's, healing.
Healing. So it's, like I said, it's such a safe treatment that, like I said, it's self into self. It's such a really low risk, great little treatment for a lot of people.
And just going on to the you have the nutrient bags, but you also have the intramuscular injections.
Yes.
What are the benefits of intramuscular injections, and why is it such a big part of the Drip Club?
Intramuscular injections are great because it means that, for example, Hamish is still on the drip. We usually would put it through faster if it was in clinic, but the height didn't allow us to today. But So with our intramuscular injections, if you don't have time to have a full drip, you can come in for an intramuscular injection and it takes all of 5 minutes. Also, our intramuscular injections are focused on specific needs. So such as athletic performance, we have some intramuscular injections with amino acids in them for different things. We have intramuscular injections that help with fat metabolism, with hair, skin and nails, and energy production, and also nutrients that help with feelings of anxiety.
Athletes athletes been using is it a PRP?
Yes.
Yeah, have they been using it? How long or are they using it at the moment? Like athletes, professional athletes.
I would say they'd be using it a lot.
They've been because I was gonna say because I used to play basketball, and training was very intense, high professional training, and I'm just thinking, would they use it like in the NBA or like let's say MBO level?
Look, SportsMed does it at their clinic.
Okay.
Yeah, so like I said, it's a very popular treatment for joint and tissue injury.
Oh, yep.
Do people use that the plasma thing into like spines and stuff like that?
Yeah. There are doctors that will inject the spine, but that's a very specialist treatment. You need to see someone that specialises in that. We won't do that.
Yeah, because the spine's obviously very touchy.
Oh yeah, it's just completely out of our scope of practice. We wouldn't. Yeah, you'd have to go to someone that specialises in PRP to the spine.
Yeah, fair.
But people do it.
But you guys mainly focus on like muscle areas.
Oh, we do larger joints like knees and elbows, shoulders, but we do like aesthetic treatments too, such as the P and the O shot, as well as skin treatments with the PRP.
Yeah, cool. Beautiful. What else? What else you do?
What else do we do?
What else you do? I
I
like this little health journey.
What else? We do functional testing, so genetic testing and gut biome testing. So
So you know if like I'm gonna have some bad diseases.
well, we know whether or not you have a genetic weakness to developing those diseases. So it's the emerging the field of epigenetics. So we've now obviously mapped the human genome, and what we've found is your genes are your genes, but your lifestyle and your environment as well will switch on and off the expression of these genes. So, for example, it's the story of the grandmother that drank whiskey and smoked all her life, living to
Badass.
95, and you got the 45-year-old runner who just drops dead. How does that correlate? So a lot of that is hidden in the genes, and where your susceptibility is where you should work on from a health perspective. So, are you a poor detoxifier? Is your lipid oxidation not optimal? So there are things that you can do and supplements you can take to aid with that. You might have a higher need for B group vitamins because of your genetic genotype. So, yeah.
That's so cool. I want to do that.
Yeah, it is, because your genes are your genes are your genes. You do them once and they don't change. But, depending on the inputs to your body will depend on whether those genes are expressed or not.
And have you had some people come in and then you've been able to like essentially prevent them from some pretty like hectic diseases?
I'd like to think so, but I don't actually know. I would hope so. But a lot of the time we do these genetic tests and people, when I read through the results, people get aha moments because they're like, oh yeah, I can't eat that. That does make my body do this. And, a lot of people have figured out what works for them and what doesn't before they come in anyway, and it's just a reaffirmation of what they already know.
Yeah, cool. And what was the next thing you said?
Gut biome testing. So
How does that work?
So we send you home with a little poo sample kit, and you basically put some samples into some test tubes, and we send them off, and analyzes what's living in your bowel.
So to do like a full checkup of your stuff, like how much can people expect to spend?
For the genetic testing and the gut biome testing, together as a package would be about $1,000, but the gut biome testing is $600 and something on its own, and the genetic testing is $400 and something.
Okay, because
So-
I was told that you guys, in comparison to interstate places, are pretty like affordable in this field of health.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I want, because of, again, what we were talking about earlier. I want to try and keep our treatments accessible to everybody. If you want to come in and drop $400-500 on a drip, you can too. But generally, we want to still be in the price range where if people need the treatments, they can save and they can still afford them. I mean, it's unfortunate that our treatments aren't Medicare claimable. So everything that we do for people needs to come out of their own pocket.
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
So health is wealth.
Health
Health
is wealth.
That's it.
Yeah, beautiful.
Well, just quickly on like obviously there's a lot of things at the Drip Club. Where did that all come from? Is that from your like brain? Did you get inspired by all these different things and put it forth, or was it a like combination of like different people in the team? Like, how did the Drip Club have so much? Like, there's so much on offer. There's so many services. Are these your personal interests of your whole like? How come you're interested in this stuff? Like, you shared your story before, but there seems like there's something deeper than just your own personal experience. Like, it seems like you got a fascination with all these different like out there kind of novel treatments. Was that just, how did that come about?
I guess I'm a little bit quirky like that. I listened to a lot of podcasts. I mean, back in the day, before I started my business, I listened to a podcast called Underground Wellness, and they used to interview some really fascinating doctors that were doing amazing things around the world, people that wrote books about hormones, about all sorts of things, thermogenesis, and I just loved the science behind it. And I wanted to take that knowledge, package it up, and be able to share it to people that know nothing about it. Because that's where the power is, and that's where change is people, yes, they care that it's scientifically grounded, but they don't really want to know the science. They just want to know, is this going to work? And so I feel like I've done the groundwork. I know that the stuff that we offer works. So, we've taken that legwork out for people. I mean, there's books and there's podcasts and there's people that you read about and read their research, but the things that we have are, I guess, resulting from that research.
And what would you say like obviously all the things you're doing are pretty, let's say, novel and like very like progressive in terms of health. That must come with a lot of challenges. What kind of challenges have you faced in doing this? Like, and what have you taken away from those challenges? And what are your biggest challenges moving forward? Like, what are the things that can get in the way of your dream coming? Besides, obviously, the self and like your own ability, but what are the serious challenges ahead? And
challenges. What are your challenges?
It's a big question, George. I guess, I mean, it's the same for everybody. I mean, as we get bigger, making sure that, because obviously the bigger you get, the bigger a target you are. And I'm well aware to not oversell what we do, not claim that we're curing people, not claim that we're doing things which we're not. Just be, I guess, stay humble and stay, I guess, not get caught up in the hype of it all, if that makes sense, and just, keep your head screwed on and just keep to our North Star, which is we want to take these treatments to everybody in Australia and the world and make them available and affordable if people want them. So does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess it's your challenge of like how to stay focused instead of getting lost in the source of it. What about nootropics? Do you know much about those? I've heard about them lately and they sound pretty good.
Isn't that like a buzzword, like a superfood? Like it's just something that a plant substance that actually makes your body work better, isn't
Yeah.
it? Yeah. That's like a superfood. So funny. Like my obviously Polish background. My mum used to make sauerkraut, and my grandma with a big plate in a nappy bucket with a rock on top, like $2 for a big thing of like sauerkraut. And now I walk into a health food shop, $16 for a little jar. I'm like.
Yeah.
Playing that. Hilarious. Like bone broth. Yeah, there's another one. Like make it from leftover meat and boil it up, and there's your bone broth. Now it's a superfood. I thought that was just food.
True.
Okra, you know okra.
Oh, I love okra.
Yeah,
What's
that's
okra?
It's I'll let you explain. Like
It looks kind of like a green. If a green bean and a chili had a baby. Yeah.
that's it.
That's kind of what it looks like. But when you chop it up, you can eat it raw. But when you cook it up, it's like goes sticky, like a sap comes out of it.
Yeah, it's one of our my traditional foods. One time I'll show you.
Okra's the best. Yeah, okra's a superfood too, but it's just food.
Yep.
Like I said, it's food.
And it tastes good.
Eat what your great grandmother recognizes, and that's good. And all this stuff is all superfood, but it's just what we ate.
Yeah. Just quickly going back to the drip club. Obviously, we have the lounges, but now we have mobile stuff as well. What does that look like for people? Like, how does that work? So people just come to your house and they just
yeah. So the nutrients and everything we give you are the same, but if you prefer to have the privacy of your own home, or if you are quite unwell and you can't leave your home, we do have someone that can come and give you an infusion.
And is that pretty popular? Is that kind of like, do you like, what do you see the future? Like everyone has their own like kind of person where they can come and do a mobile service, or do you prefer the idea of a lounge and everyone gets together?
I think we'll have both, because I think some people don't want people to come to their homes, and some people would prefer it. I think it's going to be a user driven thing. It's going to depend on what the person prefers.
Cool. And then in going on that, recently you just came back from the Sunshine Coast for the brand new opening. Can you tell us what that was like, and how did that go? What was the vibe like? Obviously, there's a lot of nurses there, and they're probably new to this. Like, what was that like for them? Was it pretty cool?
Yeah, it was. Look, the thing is, I believe that we've put together the most comprehensive practical training of any organisation in Australia, and that includes the Australasian College of Medical Nutrition. They're very, very good with their research papers, and it's so vital and important that you know that stuff. But practically, we have really built that out as part of our system. So the nurses, they are very experienced nurses, but they have never handled they've never done anything like this before. So they were a little bit like deer in the headlights, but we did some extensive training with them, and they are so excited now to get started. They had a big launch party, and all of their regular clients came in. And I think it's going to be a very, very successful clinic. And like I said, they've been on the phone because while I was up there to do training and support them, now we're supporting them from Australia. We receive like phone calls from them multiple times during the day, and that's our job. But they're doing a great job up there.
Awesome, cool. Well, I'm happy.
Pardon me, I'm just dying.
Looks like your drip is done.
I'm dripped up.
Yeah, you're all finished.
I'm dripped up.
Do you want to turn the wheel off? You see that white little wheel at the top? Just roll it down to the bottom. Yep, that's it.
So Hamish, how do you feel? You feel anything, or?
I feel tired. I do feel tired. Feel sleepy.
Yeah.
Feel like relaxed sleepy.
Yeah. When you
drips
have
are
a
working.
double dose of magnesium, you just feel like you're on a different planet. It's so nice.
I can imagine if I feel like this now. And I've been like feeling it actually like go into me.
Yeah.
Like the liquid.
Yeah.
Which feels kind of weird. But like it's not overwhelming by any means.
I think getting your blood taken feels weirder than something going in. I think someone taking something out feels weird to me.
That does feel I've had that several times.
Yeah.
Yeah. I used to get that like every week for a while. That was hectic. But yeah, we're out of that zone. We're healthy now.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
All right, beautiful. Is there anything else you want to say? Let it be known to the world about your journey.
Not really. That business aside, and I'm very proud of my business, and I feel like I'm just at the beginning. Like even though I've been, I feel like it's only now that we're only just getting started, and I'm really excited to see where the business goes in the next decade. I think it's going to be huge, and I think we are going to be an international company before long. But I'm most proudest of my family and my 3-year-old little boy. So, without them, none of this makes sense.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on. Really
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Thank
Your time, your insight, and you're just like a full boss woman. Good on you.
Thank you. Cheers, and thanks for having me again. It was good fun.
You're welcome. Guys, anything you want to say?
That was amazing. I feel like I'm going to make more healthy choices.
I'm so glad.
Yeah. That's good.
If
good.
I've done that today, my job is done.
Yeah. Appreciate it.
Beautiful. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Thank
Thanks for
you.
listening to Watch Your Voyage.